sana. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for the love. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? Yeah, so I wanted us to talk about movement by running, MBR, movement by running. So I was reading somewhere and thoughts about what MBR is. It's totally a new concept. So if I can just expound, movement by running is a form of movement, like you're locomoting from one place to the other, let's say from one class to the other, from your administration block or tuition area towards the sleeping area, or from the sleeping area to the DH and such places. You're moving by running, just to show some sense of urgency. So the context of movement by running was that in schools, especially the top 16, the colonialist schools, the distance between the tuition area to even the sleeping areas was quite a distance, and even to the dining hall. So it is important for the learners to move from one place to the other in haste. So just to cut on time wastages. Yeah. So that's basically the concept. However, you find like this practice has been integrated to almost all schools, and some are saying it's bad, some are just neutral, some are like the best thing that ever happened. So for me, I was among those the colonized schools, you see. So we used to have movement by running, and what are my thoughts about it? For me, it was okay, given that the distance was quite long. Sometimes it will help you to refresh. It's not that I was not fit personally. I think I've been fit person because I could go to the field. I was actually a field captain for volleyballers. So once the 4 o'clock bell rang, I could go to the field, or if we had PE towards the games time, I could just go there and we play. I help in doing some of these, press ups. We do the banana jump. So fitness, I was fit. In fact, that helped me to be among a contestant, actually a top finalist as Miss Fi, which was my stream, as well as Miss Nyamira in quotes. That's what they used to call me then. Yeah, because I was fit, shepu ilikuwa sawa. So that was it. So it was good because you'll move very fast and get served. Yeah, unlike people, if you're strolling, you see. So there was that need. However, there are disadvantages of movement by running. One that I experienced. Welcome to the live. You have moved again. Okay. So one of the disadvantages is that during that movement by running, it happened that at one point there was a stampede, sort of, because it was in a confined area and within the tuition block, and a girl by the name Zara Kwe hit me because we were moving towards the opposite directions, and my spectacles broke, and that meant disaster because I have visual impairment, and as such I will not be able to see. You see, I struggled then. Even how do you report to a parent? This is the second pair of specs. Then they have fell down, they have been stepped on, and they've gone. When I tried to ask her, she was like, but you could see the urgency. So that was the only disadvantage. The second disadvantage I saw with movement by running was the fact that while going especially to the dining hall, I could have a coping mechanism. You see, because you fear prefect or anyone standing just to see how you guys are moving. So I got coping mechanisms which are not healthy, like mixing water, cold water with my hot tea, so that it's easier to drink. Sometimes you just pour the food because, yeah, you have to save on time. I think that was the only part that was traumatic in quotes. And somehow I've carried on with that habit. Yeah, I saw people saying that that movement by running sometimes inculcates a conditioning whereby you are always on the run, like you're running like headless chicken. I don't know whether that's true, that even at the workplace you find someone is like always in a hurry. But for me, what I saw, like when in campus, it came in handy, that movement by running. There were classes that you had to move from one zone to the other one within 0 minutes, yeah? And you don't want to miss these lessons. So it came in handy, especially after the shuttle. Yeah, I was in KU, so they had been removed, so we had to move from one place to another. And at this point, especially in first year, I was paged. It came in handy. That was the point where I saw it. There was also a time when I was vying for the Congress Ladies School of Education, and you'll find that I had to be always so swift. And my friends one day took a video of me the way I was walking. They were like, "You're crazy!" But I think somehow it's true that movement by running indeed conditions people. Was it tyrannical? I don't know. Was it military? Some people could be right by saying that, especially if it's supervised by, fellow students and they're using force, you're being punished or, asked maybe to kneel on the quadrangle, which is actually very rough. Yeah. Another disadvantage of movement by running, especially on small spaces, is someone is likely to get injured, and these injuries could be knee deep, yeah, because you're running and you're so swift. So that could be another disadvantage of movement by running. Yeah. So I don't know what your experience has been with movement by running, but I believe it's a good way to save time, to keep fit, and just to be so swift. I understand some people, due to the movement by running, they had to come up with coping mechanisms which are somehow toxic. Like, instead of having to go and run, they choose not to even go for their meals. They just forgo because they don't want to get late. And I don't know how they get to cope, because after some while maybe you're feeling hunger pangs, so you're creating a problem on top of the other. Maybe you'll get ulcers because of the stomach um, wounds that will come along. But I believe it's a good system. If it works for you, go for it. However, there are schools, especially where we have the stairs, or it's slightly, what can we say, muddy. It doesn't make sense. So we need to tailor this movement by running depending on the situation. How sluggish are people, especially when dealing with teenagers, like in high school? Hey, it's like movement has to be a bit swift, or else they'll just be so sluggish. They move from one point to the other slowly, and it's a bit hard where population is very high. But where the population is very low, let them just be organized in how they conduct themselves, and it will still bring the results. For ladies, some were like, you don't have to run, you just walk swiftly. And that's true. There's a way you can walk which is an academic walking angle. You look like even a marking scheme. You look like focused person. So it depends with really what you want to achieve out of the movement by running. Yeah. So for parents who believe it's a bad system, we are training children to be military. Actually, the distance they travel is not that big. Yeah? And by the time they reach in class, they'll be fresh. They'll be ready to grasp content. Unlike if they were so sluggish, they even forget why they are in school in the first place. Yeah. So Give me your thoughts on the comment section, what MBR has been to you, what it has meant. And there's this observation that people who did the movement by running can be seen from afar even at the workplace. Is it true that sometimes people could be visionless, but they appear like they are in action? Have you seen that in the workplace? Is it true, or it just things that are overliers? Yeah, let me know. Let me know the movement by running, how it has been according to you in your own experience. Okay, until next time, bye.